Greetings, I'm DonTheCrown, and today I want to talk about Path of Exile's most ridiculous Warcry, Infernal Cry. With 3.11 and Harvest League, GGG has reworked and added several new Warcries, including changing Abyssal Cry to Infernal Cry. At first glance, this appears to be a simple change from making this formerly chaos-focused Warcry into a fire-friendly Warcry. The skill still causes enemies to explode when killed, only now for fire damage instead of chaos, and also provides an ash debuff. These things are all very in line with how Abyssal Cry used to work. However, there's one part of this skill that's completely new and that I overlooked at first glance. Infernal Cry will also exert the next 4 melee attacks that you perform, which is basically a fancy way of saying power up. And note that Vol, channeled, and multi-striked attacks cannot be exerted. What Infernal Cry's exert does is make it so that your next attacks trigger combust. Combust is a triggered attack that does a significant amount of base damage that is somewhat converted to fire in an area of effect. The real important part is that this counts as its own separate attack. It doesn't change the attack that you would have used. When I first saw this, I thought, welp, that would wreck my impale, can't use it, but boy, was I wrong. Since Combust is its own attack, it can be supported just like any other. However, Combust will just go off when you hit, so you're basically getting additional hits on your next several attacks. Now, there's 2 ways that you could go about supporting this. You could support Infernal Cry with a lot of attack damage supports in an attempt to soup up the damage, or you could support Infernal Cry with a lot of utility supports. What are some good utility supports? Well, how about Onslaught, Curse on Hit, Fortify, Rage, Power Charge on Crit, Endurance Charge on Stun, just to name a few. These are all things that you might normally struggle to fit into your build, that you can now clump into one skill. If your build is already investing into Warcry speed, this can make a nice second 6-link, which can effectively make your main link an 11-link skill. If you're already playing a slow fire-based attack like Tectonic Slam, this could nearly double your single target DPS if you choose to maximize the damage of the Combust hit. Note that the Combust hit is a kind of a small area around your character, so it won't hit at a long distance away. I'm currently using this to add Onslaught and Invulnerability to my main attacks, which combine for 20% more damage against Cirrus. One of the nicest things is that this gives me a good reason to use Infernal Cry, which is one of the only ways that pure physical builds have to deal with porcupines. And as with other exerted attacks, there's no time limit to them, so you can easily Infernal Cry while waiting for a boss immunity phase, or just before going into a boss room. Let me know if this is something that you plan to use in your build in the comments below. If you want to catch some live melee gameplay, come by the stream at twitch.tv/DonTheCrown. Thank you very much.